Kasey, grab a mic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're reprising our old roles here.
Yes.
We've got 7 minutes to pack in 20 years of an incredible career, but we're going to do our best. They haven't even started the clock. Thank you, Seattle Sports Commission.
Yeah.
You have achieved so much. I'm sure you have so many people to thank along the way as well. And what about those people in the early days when there was no pro pathway for you here in the US? Who helped you on your way and how did you get it done?
Well, there was a lot of coaches that weren't being paid to be coaches. They just did it because they wanted to do it. They had a little bit of knowledge of the sport, and they wanted to pass that along. Also, I was a big beneficiary of when the NASL folded. A lot of those English pros, either they married Americans, they wanted to stay in the country, they wanted to be a part of that. And, one of the main, I need to thank was obviously the late Clive Charles, the coach at University of Portland, who was named Pele named him to the best ever 11 of the NASL, which was a huge honor. And Clive and those guys really helped me get that opportunity to go over to England when nobody really had.
You were the first US player to play in the UK on a work permit. You arrive at Millwall FC, a team known for, should we say, tough fans, a tough environment, and maybe for you as an American player, facing stereotypes that many others wouldn't face.
Yeah, I think in the first, several months of my career at Millwall, almost every interview was prefaced with, what is an American doing here, and what is an American doing here playing so well? And we did. We kind of, look, did I have some of those Ted Lasso moments where I would have different phraseology and they would kind of laugh about it and I would laugh about it? But I think like anything, if you perform and you perform well, you'll be accepted.
You had 17 years in Europe.
Yep.
Some of the top clubs, Tottenham in London. You went to Leicester City. You went to Europe as well. Yep. One of the first and only Americans to captain a German team, Borussia Mönchengladbach. What was the driving force between you making it and then your longevity in Europe?
First of all, I think I need to thank my parents for giving me some decent genes to be able to play. I mean, I've known a lot of great athletes who, unfortunately, just injury just doesn't allow them to be able to play as long as they would. I was fortunate that I was pretty injury-free for a lot of my career, and was able to, keep the focus, and some of the focus of beating up the team mascot. But there was always
you did in Germany. There's YouTube footage.
Yeah.
Google Kasey Keller, Gladbach, WWE. It's a treat.
It was also having fun. I think that's part of it as well. Yes, it's a job, and yes, it's really stressful. I laugh at people sometimes because, you have a bad day at the office, a handful of people knew it. I had a bad day at the office, 100 million people knew it. And so sometimes you lose that focus that it's supposed to be fun. And so when you have these opportunities to wrestle with the team mascot after a good win, just kind of enjoy that.
And look, you set the standard for US soccer players abroad. You represented your country more than 100 times. The first US player to go to 4 FIFA World Cups. Yeah. In a lifetime of memories on the national stage, what stands out?
I have a couple. I mean, the 1-0 win against Brazil, which is still the only time the U.S. has ever beaten Brazil. And thank you. And
15 saves that night?
Something crazy. And then the match against Italy in the 2006 World Cup, where we had 2 red cards, they had a red card, and we were the only team to take a point off of the eventual champions. So that was a lot of fun.
And then you have a final season in Europe, a miracle season, keeping Fulham in the Premier League. And then you decide it's time to come home.
Yeah, I had kind of torn my shoulder up, so I missed part of that season with Fulham, and then came back, and we had one of the best relegation escapes. And then I was kind of making some decisions, and the opportunity came to come home. And when you're living in Europe for 17 years, home is the United States, but home to the Pacific Northwest, and it was just too much to pass up. And, so I came back, and I had signed a 2-year contract, and then just kind of was waiting to see kind of what was going to happen after that first 2 years, because I wasn't getting any younger.
Yeah. and incredible scenes as we saw in that video with your success. And then your final year.
Yeah.
So much change for you.
Yeah.
Something you've gone public with recently, which not many people knew about, but has been a different challenge you've dealt with in your personal life.
Yeah, it was a little interesting little hiccup. I was having a little bit of a hip problem, and I just wanted to make sure I wasn't having a big problem that was going to keep me off the pitch before I signed for my 20th year. And I went in, I got an MRI. Doc called, said, look, your hip's fine. But we need you to go back to the hospital and get a biopsy because, you know, eventually I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma right before I started my final season. And so I kind of kept it private, very private. I went 8 years before I had to start treatment. Had a really crazy, difficult treatment plan. I went, I think, 13 different treatments. To limited number of success, to then finally I was one of the first people this new drug was given to after FDA approval, and I've now partnered with Bristol Myers Squibb to promote a drug called Breyanzi that basically saved my life, and I'm now 5 years in remission and enjoying that. So yeah, it was kind of not exactly the the little twist that I was expecting when I was looking to sign to that final 20th season, to have to deal with, going to preseason, having a scan to see if I could start the season, then halfway through the season, seeing if I could finish the season, and then having that time before I had to start the very difficult treatment journey, but out the other side and enjoying it.
Yeah, keep on living the good life. Kasey, it's fantastic to see you. Some final thank yous before we leave the stage.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think to be on this list of people who've received this award, it's a pretty impressive list, and humbling to be a part of it. Obviously, I don't have the career that I have if I don't have the unbelievable support of my wife and kids, and then you don't have any team success without all the support of your teammates and coaches and administrators and everybody that helps you along the way. So, so many people to thank, and thank you so much, and thanks for the honor.
Kasey, you are a Seattle sports legend in the truest sense of the word. Your Royal Brougham Sports Legend Award winner, Kasey Keller.
Thank you. Thanks, Ross.